Hey everyone, it's Miss Billman, and today we're in Unit 4, Lesson 1. This section is all about surface area of regular prisms. We're in 6th grade and things get a little bit harder than the year before, and in this unit we'll only be looking at right prisms. So that means they have bases perpendicular to the other faces. Now, that might hurt your brain, me saying it right now, but by the end of it, you're going to be like, whoa, I totally know that. We'll move on to other things when you're in 7th and 8th grade. But for this, we're kicking off with looking at a net. I always think of things when it has a net where like the perfect wrapping paper. There's something for every side. So a net is a 2-dimensional flat pattern that could be folded into a 3-dimensional figure. So if you unfolded a pizza box or if you cut apart a cereal box, it would look like this flat. I've already cut this one out and I'm going to be folding the edges. You'll notice that this has what we call faces, or, we could say sides too, but these have faces, depending on how you're looking at it. In this, we have 6 faces. If I had to count the edges, I would have 12. And I could also point out that these have congruent sides. Remember the word congruent? It doesn't mean that they're directly next to one another. It means that they match exactly. So like they're the same shape and same size. They're not necessarily connected, but they're the same shape, same size, and congruent. So we have 3 pairs of congruent shapes. I've actually drawn one of my own, and we're going to look at how to find the area of it. So I have 3 different colors. It'll be purple, pink, and blue, and you will totally have to excuse, there's like a traffic jam that happens. So this rectangle, I will color purple. I will find the congruent one, and I will also color it purple. That's its match. Remember, congruent means that they are the same shape and the same size. Oh, traffic jam. Things get crazy. Hopefully you don't get like too car sick watching. So I have the measurements of 2 centimeters by 5 centimeters. Because this is congruent, I can take my marker and label these edges as well. It's the same thing. I'm going to also be making a key for myself on the left, and I'm going to write a reminder, and I'm going to rewrite it so you can see it, that area of a rectangle equals length times width. Maybe you remember that from chapter 2. I hope you do. And I know it's up in our room, but we have to keep that in mind. So if I'm looking at just one of my purple rectangles, I would find the area by saying 2 times 5. Again, that's just one. In our case, we have congruent rectangles. So I do have 2, but we're just writing this as 1. I'm going to grab my pink marker and I'm going to color in this rectangle to find its congruent one. I don't necessarily have to look next door, but I can go another one over and find its congruent partner. Now for measuring, if the side of the purple is 2 centimeters, the side of the pink has to be 2 centimeters as well. Remember, these are like a flat net, so it would cover everything. To write my measurement for the area being length times width of the pink, it would be 2 times 3, or the product of 2 and 3. My next color is blue, and that leaves me with 2 large rectangles, so I know they are congruent, so they're partners in crime. To find the measurements of this, I need to look at my purple. My purple has a length of 5 centimeters, and that is shared in that blue rectangle. The pink shares a length of 3 centimeters with blue because they share a side, because it's a net, and I get 5 by 3. My blue, to find the area, I could write 3 times 5 or 5 times 3. Either way, giving me the same answer. Remember, these measurements are just for one, but if you remember correctly, we have 2 of these. Remember, 2 purples, 2 pinks, and 2 blues. So I write directly next to them. I write 2, and I will write 2 multiplied by 5, which then I will rewrite again to say 2 times 10. I write 2 parentheses, 2 multiplied by 3, and 2 5 times 3. Because I have congruent sides, I have pairs, I have 3 sets of pairs. So 2, when I multiply by 10, I get 20. And I multiply 2 by 6, and I end up getting 12. and I multiply 2 times 15 and I get 30. So I'm going to be writing that. I'm writing them this way because it'll make it easier to add them all together. I'm adding them all together because I'm finding the volume, the area of this. We'll get into volume later. That was my bad. So I add these together and I get a total of 62 centimeters squared. I found the area of each and I added them together to get the total area. Wow, I know. We're going to try it again, but this time it will not be laid out in a net. This is just one I drew. Please totally forgive me for that wonky edge. I'm going to grab my colors again, my purple, pink, and blue, so I can identify these sides or faces. So my purple, if I were to find the area of it, it would be 3 times 4. Now, remember, when we're looking at a net, especially of this prism, there's 2. So now I'm going to grab my pink marker and color in one of the faces to be pink. That's going to help me identify the difference. So when I color in this pink face, I know that it has a length of 7 and it has a height or a width of 3 centimeters because it shares that with my purple rectangle. So it's 3 times 7. Time for blue. Blue is the top one. I color this in and I know that they share the 4 centimeters because that's the width of the purple rectangle that it connects to. And it shares the 7 with the pink. Remember, if I just made a cut between some of these edges, I would be able to lay this flat. So I rewrite this knowing that they're in congruent pairs, and I write it as 2 multiplied by 12, 2 multiplied by 21, which is 3 times 7, and 2 multiplied by 28. I write them as 24 plus 42 plus 56. Remember, I'm doing this because I looked at one rectangle, I multiplied that by 2 because I have 2, those congruent pairs, and then I add them together to get a total area for this rectangular prism. Do not worry if you feel like you're taking a long time on this. It's okay. My final answer is 122 centimeters squared. You can do this and we'll work together.